What do Ruins, Dust Bowl, and Fortress all have in common? That's right, nobody plays them. Look in the server browser and you'll probably be waiting for quite a while before you can actually find a server of one of those maps that's in your region and is on a good game mode. During peak hours, PF averages 5,000 to 6,000 players. So where are they? These players have to be somewhere, right? Well, I mean, there's the obvious, people love Desert Storm and Metro, but there's one other map that gets a huge amount of attention, mainly from high-ranked players: Warehouse. You see Warehouse all over PF YouTube. Spirals is widely known for playing a lot of Warehouse, but other YouTubers such as Ruby also make tons of videos playing on Warehouse. In fact, you slowly realize that a lot of the same people you see playing on Warehouse only play Warehouse. Now, I myself have had the rare encounter in which I met Spirals on a game of Metro, but in general, you can click on any recent Spirals video and the first frame is 99% of the time going to be Warehouse. He really seems to love that map for some reason. Why does he like it? Well, I'm gonna be honest, I have no idea, so I asked the man himself why he likes Warehouse so much, and here's how the conversation went. So I started this off by just asking Spirals why he likes Warehouse so much, and he said this: "You pretty much already got it. The other maps are simply worse, it just wins by default." So I have no idea what this means, so I just asked him what makes Warehouse unique compared to other maps, and he said this: "It's either I play a map half the size of Warehouse, or constantly in range to be one-shot by 5 different shotguns. Or I play a map double the size of Warehouse, constantly able to be one-shot by rank 30 with a BFG, or rank 300 with an NTW. So it's the size of the map that makes it so good? It's other maps being bad. It's the past 4 years of the game's development being, let's make a gun that someone with a 0.4 KD can use." So I brought up the fact that Warehouse favors LMGs with penetration, and Spirals basically said, "You have options. Rather than a map like Metro where someone with an LMG can play angles you can't avoid, I can use movement and positioning on Warehouse to give myself a chance." Spirals then showed a clip of Nepco doing the funny wall spray strat on Metro Revamp, and then continued, "There is no equivalent on Warehouse for this lineup. Any place where this might happen, I can jump over a wall and use my experience in the game to bolster my chances of surviving." Spirals then went on to explain how Warehouse has plenty of routes where one can go to engage the enemy team. This is something that many maps simply do not have. For this reason, maps like Height and Metro are far more hated than maps like Warehouse. However, in order to understand why Warehouse isn't as fun as it used to be, we have to look at things from a different perspective. Not just the perspective of arguably the greatest PF player of all time, because obviously, Spirals is not a casual player like most of you watching this, and neither are many of the other people you see consistently playing Warehouse. And there are two glaring flaws with Warehouse that Spirals doesn't really acknowledge because they benefit super cracked players like him. The first one is very obvious and well known. The walls on this map just kinda don't exist. Almost any gun can shoot right through them. The longest possible kill on Warehouse CTF is 673 studs and can easily be done with an NTW or probably any 50 cal if you try hard enough. And if you've watched a Nepco video, you'll know that radar is OP on this map. The second issue with Warehouse is that the spawns kind of suck. Actually, they really suck. Try getting a 20-man multi-kill on a map like Dust Bowl or Derrick. It's certainly possible, but it's so hard that not even the best players have done it. With Warehouse, there are so many places you can jump up to and easily farm kills from either side. The spawns are so bad that Styles had to put a wall here specifically to prevent you from being able to make the Phantom spawn on Warehouse even more miserable than the Phantom spawn on Crane site. If you're an extremely high-ranked player, Warehouse is good because you can use pretty much any gun you want and abuse the hell out of this map's spawns. But nobody else wants to be on the receiving end of that. It's pretty clear that Warehouse is not a map designed for casuals. As much as it looks like it is, PF is not Call of Duty. It's a Roblox game and its audience is still mostly made up of casual players that like playing on Desert Storm, using their favorite sniper, and chilling in the back of the map for about 30 minutes before going to do their homework. Casual players are PF's largest demographic. If you remember my video on Desert Storm not being fun, I mentioned that it's a map designed specifically for casual players, and while I personally don't enjoy it, it's clear that the casual players absolutely adore it. And if Desert Storm is as enjoyable as it is for those who make up the majority of PF's player base, then I'd say it's a very well designed map, even if I don't personally enjoy playing it. So if higher ranked players don't enjoy Desert, where do they go? Well, they see all these big YouTubers doing all sorts of crazy things on Warehouse, and so they go there to try it out for themselves. However, there's videos of Ruby getting insane high kill games on Warehouse from as early as 2018. So when did this map become such a sweat fest? To be honest, I can't say for sure. Probably the biggest contributing factor to Warehouse's sweatiness is the addition of the server browser in 2020. Now, don't get me wrong, this is overall an extremely positive feature. Since Styles insists on keeping horrible maps like CSR and Mall in the game, being able to avoid those maps entirely and play only Dust Bowl for the rest of my life is an amazing thing, and I'm glad it was added. But there are two maps that became overall worse to play as a result of the server browser: Metro Revamp and Warehouse. Metro Revamp is considered easier to spawn trap than regular Metro, and for those who haven't hit a 100 kill game yet and are trying to, Metro Revamp is a very easy map to do it on, and that's why it's such a sweatfest. But the difference here is that if you don't want to get bulldozed by some rank 300 with the Honey Badger, you can just play regular Metro instead, which has significantly safer spawns and isn't infested with high ranks in the same way Metro Vamp is. Warehouse has the same problem as Metro Vamp, but there's no alternative. There's only one warehouse in the game and only so many servers that can vote for it. And that's not even the end of the story. Videos of absolute atrocities being committed on Warehouse date back to the map's release, but they only started being popularized recently when Spirals and Ruby started doing more and more videos on Warehouse. Fans of those YouTubers then decided to try the map for themselves, which meant that the Warehouse dwellers went from just players like Ruby, Spirals, and a handful of others to hundreds and hundreds of players, chiefly fans of those YouTubers. Things have reached the point where you can join any Warehouse lobby on Koth, Flare Domination, Hardpoint, or Tag Run, and there's about a 30% chance that some Warehouse dweller will have server browsers into it at about the same time as you. It's really gotten out of hand, but I don't think that YouTubers are fully to blame for Warehouse being the sweatfest that it is. They definitely helped popularize it, but they aren't the main culprit here. In fact, no one person aside from Warehouse's creator can really be blamed for the map's problems. If Spirals never created the Jared Flatmore account and wiping Warehouse servers with an AK-74, then some other YouTuber would have done it. I think this problem was bound to happen even without YouTuber influence. Like Spirals said, the super OP guns like shotguns and 50 cals aren't as annoying on Warehouse as they are on other maps. Warehouse is much bigger than Containers, reducing the number of places where shotguns are effective. It doesn't have huge choke points like Metro that make it very easy to mow down entire teams with an LMG, and it lacks the map-wide sightlines of Desert Storm, where BFG users will be able to chip away at your sanity. Warehouse is one of the few maps where you can play the game without dealing with the BS that PF throws at you. When you take all three of the above traits and then combine them with the two major flaws I mentioned earlier in this video, you end up with just the right ingredients for the rank 250 plus players, which number less than 1500 as of the making of this video, to enjoy the game at the expense of everyone else. Where Desert Storm is a map made for just casuals, Warehouse is a map made for just tryhards. While these maps are amazing for the people they're designed for, they can be miserable for everyone else. If you took Warehouse and just gave it better spawns and thicker walls, then you'd have a near perfect map. But Status just isn't capable of doing that, and they can't exactly balance the BFG 50 without removing it, and they probably haven't seen my Containers video and so don't have any idea why shotguns are so unbalanced. So Warehouse is the best map high ranks have, where these guns aren't a problem. It's no secret that PF's balancing, while still in probably the best state it's ever been in, is still extremely flawed. There's a really interesting duality between Warehouse and Containers of Fun, a map I talked about earlier. Containers is a horrible map because it forces CQC engagements where shotguns are brain dead and overpowered. Warehouse, on the other hand, is a great map because you have many routes you can take to avoid those engagements, and it allows you to play the game without shouting racial slurs at the rank 20, who keeps one-shotting you from 90 studs away with the Remington 870. Both maps prove the same thing in different ways, you just don't realize it with Warehouse. Obviously, Warehouse will be the perfect map for all types of players if it had thicker walls and escapable spawns. Warehouse's flaws weren't as bad before, because there weren't so many high ranks running around back in 2017 when the map was added. As PF got older, some of the people who were once casuals stopped playing, but those who stayed became the high ranks that now play only Warehouse and Metro Revamp, as those are the maps that favor them. The solution is to just add some new maps that harness Warehouse's strengths while minimizing its flaws, but Stylus was just like, nah, here's Shipment from Call of Duty, see you next year. And so Warehouse, despite being a fairly well-designed map, is likely going to remain a largely miserable experience for the foreseeable future until some new maps come along for the current Warehouse dwellers to play on. Even as a rank 336 player, I don't think that Warehouse is the best map in the game. While it is nice to not have to worry about shotguns, I just can't overlook how bad the spawns are on this map. So, for those who don't like Warehouse and want to play a different map, I have two suggestions for you, Highway Lot and Dust Bowl. Both of these maps are excellent for snipers, but the sightlines aren't overpowered like they are in Desert Storm, and while neither of these maps have perfect spawns, they're certainly better than Warehouse. And just like on Warehouse, shotguns are only truly strong in objective game modes, just like they're supposed to be. These two maps are a great time for people of all skill levels, and it's a shame that they aren't voted more often. The influence of Spirals and other YouTubers helped to make Warehouse as popular as it is today, and I won't lie, part of the reason I made the Dust Bowl video is so that more people would vote for it instead of the same few maps. Just like other YouTubers popularized Warehouse, I too want to popularize Dust Bowl, and you can help me by liking this video, subscribing to my channel if you haven't already, and commenting your objectively incorrect opinions on why I'm wrong and Warehouse is the greatest thing since sliced bread. Thanks for watching, and goodbye. I'm gonna be so happy to never see this map again.